August 5th, 1914. This isn't right, and you know it. Protest! Tell them no! Tell them they can all kiss your ass and be done with it.
You and I both know that's not how this works.
Bullshit! If that bastard wants to go and declare war, then let him. But don't let him drag you into it without a fight of your own. God, Matt, we both know you're stronger than that. Now man up!
Canada is a British dominion, Alfred. My country and I can govern ourselves, make our own decisions, and live in peace as we wish. This is all we've ever wanted. However, in global matters like this, things are out of my hands. If Britain goes to war, then I am bound to support the Empire in every way possible, regardless of my own personal feelings on the matter.
Matthew, he didn't even consult you, not once, before he dove headfirst into this mess. And now you're just gonna support him and be his cannon fodder? That's unacceptable.
You don't think I know what this is? You don't think I know what his commanders intend to do once my troops are on the ground? Of the two of us, Alfred, I think we can both agree on who is the more politically and internationally inclined one. I've kept my relationship with Britain because, unlike you, I know how to politically negotiate the freedoms both I and my people need without resorting to full-scale war. The majority of my people support Britain and the Allies because we are loyal subjects, and know that we are as honor-bound to defend our sovereign nation as we are bound by being a dominion. That you find this unacceptable means nothing.
What kind of freedom is it, when you don't even have a say in the wars you're in?
Alfred.
Matt, please. There's gotta be something you can do. Look, if you don't want to be involved in Europe's affairs, then I'll talk to my boss and we can find a way to—
Alfred! Personal wants and diplomatic responsibility rarely coincide. Do I want to go to war? No, I don't. Am I happy about this? It goes without saying that I'd rather burn that declaration rather than sign it. However, Britain has enough problems in Europe to worry about without me adding a fruitless fight for independence on top of it. I know where my loyalties and my obligations lie, and that's final. Alfred.
Is there really nothing I can say to convince you not to do this?
No, Alfred. There is not.
Gotta do what you gotta do, right? We all have our leaders to answer to, whether we care for them or not. One day you'll have your own form of government and some bloody git telling you what to do. You better damn well do it. Right? Sir?
I'm coming.
It hadn't been long before I declared my neutrality, stating that I would not be drawn into the European conflict, but would continue to allow trade with both sides of the war. While the British naval blockade made trade with Germany increasingly difficult, not much effort had been made on the American side to overcome the obstacle. Germany, however, had found a way, announcing unrestricted submarine warfare, and any ship, neutral or not, was fair game in the hostile waters. The Lusitania had been the first break in my neutrality. Despite Germany's efforts to mollify me with compensation over the loss of life and cargo, relations remained strained. In February of 1916, I tried once again to reach a peace agreement between Central and Allied powers, sending dignitaries and myself to London to meet with Britain's Foreign Minister, Grey. However, the barely agreed-upon House Grey memorandum did not last a month before the sinking of Britain's vessel, Sussex, destroyed all attempts made at peace. The fury over Germany's lack of restraint only overshadowed my anger with Britain over the Easter Rising in Dublin. But it was the Zimmermann telegram that arrived via British intelligence that sealed the fate of my 32 months of neutrality. April 1st, 1917.
It's inevitable.
Who delivered this?
A messenger from London. Not Lord Kirkland. According to Prime Minister George, he's still at the front.
That's where I'll be going, isn't it?
It's something we've both tried very hard to avoid, Alfred. I know how you feel, but I won't lie to you. I'm going to be addressing Congress tomorrow, and I'm going to have to ask for a declaration of war. I can't imagine the request being denied. Roosevelt will be happy. He knew this neutrality wouldn't last.
Our military's only about 300,000 troops strong. We're still dealing with the uprising in the Philippines, and we're not exactly practiced in the kind of warfare that's happening out there. We're gonna take heavy casualties.
Not nearly as many as our allies already have, Alfred. That is the only small comfort I can offer. Alfred, I'm going to bed. I'm not so untuned to you as to suggest you get some rest too. You'll never do it. But I will suggest that you take a walk and try to put some things into perspective before we approach Congress tomorrow. I know this is not the ideal situation for either of us, but I'm not a man who believes that good cannot be found in even the darkest of hours. If I recall, neither are you.
Wilson's my 28th president, and compared to his predecessors, I'd rank him among my favorites. I mean, Washington, he'd been the man who brought the nation together into victory in the Revolution. For me, he'd been the replacement father figure when Britain nearly withdrew all ties. Adams, Jefferson, Madison had helped to get me through the War of 1812, and Lincoln, who I never would have survived the Civil War without. Of all my presidents, other than Washington, Lincoln had gone through the most with me. The Civil War had damn near obliterated my mind, as half of me set out on a quest to destroy the other. It had been 4 years of absolute hell. Trying to serve two masters at once had been too much. Between Davis screaming for the blood of the North and Lincoln demanding surrender or war with the South, I could barely function. I still have nightmares about it. About nearly losing myself and dying as the hatred and screams of my country echoed endlessly in my mind, day and night. When it was over, it had taken what felt like ages to recover enough to return to my duties in government. When Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, I dropped on the spot, fallen comatose until Johnson was hastily sworn in after Lincoln's body had been covered. 3 other presidents had been assassinated since then, each causing me to fall until a successor took place. I'd never really understood the terrible reaction my body had to each event. While mourning my boss the first time it had happened, I had the overwhelming urge to contact my former mentor and father and demand to know what else about being a nation I didn't know. But the thought was quickly dashed the moment Lincoln's casket appeared before me and the hatred returned. Britain had supported the Confederacy during the war that nearly ripped me to shreds and ultimately killed my president. If I ever spoke with the bastard again, it would be all too soon. While mine and Britain's bosses were on sporting good terms, me and Arthur were still as unsure of each other as ever. Our transgressions against each other were older than our human masters, so things were not so easy to repair. Now I have Wilson. This man is older and doesn't have the same militaristic sense of Washington or the wisdom and counsel of Lincoln, and he doesn't have the vigor and vibrance of Roosevelt either. But he does have a strong sense of peace and a genuine desire to do what he feels is best for his country. He has a lot of critics, former presidents included, but I admire his ability to keep his chin high and his conviction strong. Neither of us want this war, and the people don't want it either. But now it's here, and I hope to God the man channels some of his predecessor's stronger attributes and manages a hold on his own. If I have to go, then I will go. But I want a leader with a good head on his shoulders leading the way. The country trusts Wilson, so I trust Wilson. What more can I do but put faith in him? At least it wasn't some bloody git telling me what to do. Alright, Arthur. Here's me accepting your final invitation. Hope you're satisfied.
It is a distressing and oppressive duty, gentlemen of the Congress, which I have performed in thus addressing you. There are, as it may be, many months of fiery trial and sacrifice ahead of us. It is a fearful thing to lead this great peaceful people into war, into the most terrible and disastrous of all wars, civilization itself seeming to be in the balance. But the right is more precious than peace, and we shall fight for the things which we have always carried nearest our hearts, for democracy and liberties of small nations, for our universal dominion of right by such a concert of free peoples as shall bring peace and safety to all nations, and make the world itself at last free. To such a task we can dedicate our lives and our fortunes, everything that we are and everything that we have, with the pride of those who know that the day has come when America is privileged to spend her blood and her might for the principles that gave her birth and happiness and the peace which she has treasured. God helping her, she can do no other.
On April 6th, 1917, nearly 3 years after the start of the war, the U.S. Congress declared war on Germany. Entering the war as an associate power of the Allied forces, Americans first hit the grounds of Europe in June of 1917.